19:37 to play. Cosmos and Vancouver. Jim Carvelis, Seamus Malin. One of the fine New York play-by-play voices, John Sterling, in the booth with us today. Good to have John here, along with about 55, maybe 60,000 fans before they count up all the tickets. A great crowd here at Giant Stadium, and a beautiful day to see the conclusion of this very successful tournament, the Transatlantic Challenge Cup. Teams from England, Italy, Canada, the United States.
Again, Vancouver, Jim, playing very smart defense, dropping back, not committing themselves in the other half, but closing down the options for quick passes that the Cosmos can really exploit a team with, and they've been remarkably effective so far.
Cabañas headed down that pass. Alberto, as the Cosmos have not been able to effectively attack this tough Vancouver club. Look at Quinaglia ranging all the way back to his penalty area. And here comes Giorgio. Playing it off to Rick Davis, and the fans love Quinaglia. Giorgio was taking things into his own hand. They couldn't get him the ball up front, so he decided to come back into his own penalty area to get it. Great crowd on hand. Alberto. 18:05 to play in the first half. No score in the match. Carlos. And out of Ricky Davis. Back to Carlos. Weimar comes to mark him. Good ball to Beckenbauer. Franz in the box for Romero. But the wind took the ball right away from him. The wind just blew the ball right back. The initial pass looked like it was going to drop right on his foot. And then Romero watches the ball flew behind him.
Yeah, it is very strong, and it's blowing exactly that direction. It's blowing in the Vancouver favor, and it's really picked up in intensity in the last half an hour.
All right, Vancouver wins it. That's Gray. And he gives it away. Beckenbauer picks it off. And the Cosmos are hoping that the wind will not change at halftime. And here's Bogey. There's a long ball to Romero. Romero in the box, had it knocked away. It'll be a Cosmos throw-in.
Once again, Kember coming over, and look at that strength of that wind there blowing that sideline flag. But Kember playing a very intelligent midfield.
All right, they call offside. Offside against Quinaglia. So no score in this match.
One of the things to think about, Jim, is that this is the first game the Cosmos have played in a long time, and Vancouver too for that matter, where a draw really gains something. It doesn't happen in the NASL, but it does in this particular tournament.
A Cosmos draw or a tie would give them the championship. Here comes Bogey. Outside the box. Played to Cabañas. Eskandarian. Esky stayed on the ball. Now to Cabañas. Romero. Beckenbauer allows it to go through to Ricky Davis on the right. Ricky with some room. Got it off to Naskins. Naskins knocked away from him by Gray. It'll be a Cosmos throw into the box. Headed out easily. Alberto will keep it in the zone for the Cosmos. Now to Rick Davis. Rick to Bogey. Off to Romero. Romero to Cabañas. And Cabañas' shot is deflected. And it goes over the goal line. Last touch by Cabañas. No score in the match. The Cosmos and Vancouver. 15:28 to play in the first half. And we'll be back with more transatlantic soccer after this. High corner kick for the Cosmos. Bogicevic in front of the goal. The header by Durgan. It was right on goal. Jeff Durgan, the 18-year-old youngster from Seattle, Washington, headed it right on goal to Krobelar.
And he got way over Weimar to get that header. Weimar has played, in fact, as a defender as well as an attacker. Weimar came back in defense because he saw Durgan coming back, but Durgan got up above him.
Durgan has been a big surprise, a pleasant surprise for the Cosmos. Now here's Rudy Kroll. Eskandarian over the top. Valentine back to Allen Ball. Bogey knocked it away from behind. And Bogey stays on the ball. Bogey has been a demon defensively. Now they lose the ball and a foul called against Vancouver.
Well, Steve Kember playing a very aggressive defensive midfield. He's doing a great job for Vancouver. He's unhappy with that call, but he's an experienced player from England. He's not going to lose his cool over a couple of calls, and I'm very impressed at how effective he is so far.
All right, here's Johan Neeskens with Ricky Davis running up the right wing. Neeskens to Davis. Davis, crossover move. Gray knocks him down. And Gray has fouled Davis. Speaking of active players, Gary Gray's been very active. He's been an attacking midfielder, and he's been a defending midfielder. They put it in play in the box. Beckenbauer got it to Romero. There's this high cross, and it just got past Cabañas, who was right there. It seems as if Cabañas and Romero are always on the same wavelength.
Terrific skill by Romero to get free and get that ball across the byline. And speaking of skill, what a nice touch in there by Valentine.
And out of Allen Ball. And it's Vancouver attacking. Now the game is evened out a bit. Now it's about an even game. 12-16 to play in the first half. No score, and they're playing for the championship. Rudy Kroll knocked away by Eskandarian and stolen by Quinaya. Here comes Giorgio over the midfield line. Quinaya was fast winning fans over here with his excellent all-around play, and the Cosmos will throw it in. That was the last time you saw Giorgio throw it in. Neeskens was making a run for head of the box, but in that win, Quinaya would have needed a cannon to get it to him. Now Quinaya tries to touch it over here to Romero. Knocked away. Gray has it. Romero tackles him and fouls him. With the clock reading 11 and a half minutes to play in a scoreless first half.
Well, each team determined not to let the other one build up as much as possible, because when they build up intelligently, they really can execute at the other end, and that's where you see a lot of this testiness in the middle of the field.
And Vancouver comes attacking now. Allen Ball. Back to Ball. Really a tight defensive game. There's a beautiful ball on the right. Low cross at Alberto. Knocks over the goal line and sets up yet another Vancouver corner kick. That time I almost got the impression, Seamus, that the Vancouver player did not want to fight the wind factor and just kept the ball on the ground, on the cross.
Oh, a ground cross is a good thing to vary with, particularly if an English team which is expected to hit the ball in the air. You know, a little surprise with a quick, sharp ground ball through the box is a good idea.
All right, here it comes in the box, and it's headed by Alberto, and a bouncing shot.
Ooh.
Bounces right to Birkenmeyer. It was dangerous. 10 minutes and 19 seconds to play in a scoreless first half. It's been a defensive struggle. Cosmos and Vancouver. Bogicevic with it. Bogey, good ball on the right to Ricky Davis. Davis with Romero. Back to Rick Davis. Davis leaves it for Bogey. To Carlos. To Romero against Gray. Romero, and Gray knocks it away over the near sideline. It'll be a Cosmos throw.
Again, trying to isolate Romero one against any defender is a good idea, but Vancouver playing it so well, they get a number of players over there to help out in case he beats the first one.
All right, Beckenbauer being chased by Lenarduzzi. Play it to Davis. Neeskens. Romero. Romero beats Gray now. Here comes the cross. And Cabañas' header, and the referee was asked for handball, and he said no. Cosmos had two men in dangerous position that time, Quinaya and Cabañas.
I'm not sure if Quinaya may have gotten a little a grazing header on that. It's hard to pick it up, but he might have done and touched down to Cabañas. Well, I'm sure he was trying to give it that little flick into the far corner.
All right, now it's Vancouver's turn with 8:45 to play in the first half. Still a scoreless game. And the cross into the box found no one but the hands of Hubert Birkenmeyer. I should say nothing but the hands of Hubert Birkenmeyer. I watch Beckenbauer now. 8:28. Alberto. This has all the effects of a very important game, doesn't it, Seamus? The way the clubs are playing. In the box, and a good play by Johnny Craven, a big casual, but with the flair of a Carlos Alberto, he made the play. This looks like a European Cup championship game, a World Cup game. Clubs attacking, but cautiously. A lot of great defense all over the field, not giving people a chance to do their thing.
Well, it is. It does have the atmosphere of a cup final. And when you throw on it, of course, the great emotions of these two teams in this rivalry anyhow, that just adds another level to that kind of tenseness and sort of caution.
Here's Cabañas now. Playing it to Romero. Romero back to Cabañas if he can get to it. But Rudy Kroll showed you some speed as well, didn't he? And they're going to call what? Foul on Cabañas. Foul on Cabañas.
Well, there was some contact there, but again, it didn't look as though it was anything serious enough to stop the game for. But it never hurts a referee to be cautious rather than let too much go.
Doozy. Not a ball. Good work by Vancouver. Here comes Gray. Deflected by Romero. And that's going to be a corner kick. That's right. That's a corner kick. Romero got a piece of that ball. So Vancouver has had a lot of corner kicks in this first half, and they'll have another now with 6:49 to play in the first half. Scoreless match.
There have been some great goals in this tournament, Jim. Wonderful goals. But this is the kind of game where you expect almost an inadvertent goal, you know, kind of a fluke goal. And let's hope that doesn't happen. But you have that sense as you watch the game. It's so tense.
All right, here's Gray on the left to Alan Ball. Look at the heading ability of Durgan. Flew through the air. Cabañas. Durgan with another great header. He's made 2 or 3 out of the box today. And now Beckenbauer with 6:15 to play in the half. It's a long looping ball to Romero. He knocked the defender down. That's a good call. Romero, the fans boo, but that is a very good call. From Giant Stadium, a scoreless match. Cosmos and Vancouver. And we'll be back with more. Ricky Davis, defensive play. Crow got rid of it now to Lenarduzzi. Kevin to the end of the box. Cabañas, a round ball. What a move by Cabañas to get away from Alan Ball. His distributing pass not very good, but the Cosmos almost made it work. But Kroll saved the day for Vancouver.
Cabañas a little too anxious there. He had a great chance to advance the ball, and he tried to put it between two defenders and free Quinalha going through, but really it was really a 10% kind of pass, and Vancouver almost let it go through because of 2 players going for it instead of 1.
All right, still a scoreless match with 3:57 to play in the first half. Jim Carvelis and Seamus Malin on the USA Sports Network. Davis, Durgan allows it to go to Alberto. Carlos, a long ball up the left for Quinalha. Seems like they've gauged the wind now, Seamus. Quinalha gets it to Beckenbauer, but it was broken up. And Vancouver the other way. Long ball for Gray. If he can catch up to it, he can. But Naskins was there to defend, and it's going to be awarded to Cosmos. I think the official and the linesman that were trying to make up their mind, and Naskins made it up for him. He just ran over and threw the ball in bounds. Franz Beckenbauer with it with 3:09 to play in the first half. Scoreless half. And one gets the impression that a goal will look very, very big in this match. Here's Romero on the left. Here's his cross, and it's too far.
Well, the Romero, again, trying to lose Lenarduzzi as much as he can. He's played the number 5 player, the left back. On this side has given Romero a hard time. Romero moving away from him, going over that side and trying to work on Belivo a bit. And you see Cabañas over here. And, you know, for a good attacking play, you've got to do that. You have to have wingers switch and so forth, and maybe it'll help free up some chances for the Cosmos. But so far, Vancouver has been very equal to the cause here that the Cosmos can throw at them.
And over the line, they say Gray was over the line. 2:17 to play in the half. No score in the match. Cabañas, Naskins, Alberto. The bogey. Beckenbauer off the bogey. Now in the box. Vancouver was calling for a handball. The referee said no, it was off his chest. Alberto with a marvelous trap. 1:35 in the first half. Romero, Beckenbauer, Ricky Davis operating on the left side for the first time today. Cabañas is over on the right. The Cosmos offensively are moving people around. Bogey, that's not a good pass. With 1:05 to play in the first half. It's Vancouver attacking in a scoreless game. Valentine, Alberto knocked it away initially. Vancouver stays in the ball. Ball plays it on the right. Here's the cross in the box. And Johan Naskins will handle. 48 seconds to play in the half. Cabañas, Beckenbauer. Little flip to Cabañas. Off his chest, a nice touch to Bogey. 38 seconds. Oh, there's a great defensive play because Cabañas was racing up that right side, and Lenarduzzi made a saving stop of that pass, Seamus.
Well, again, Cabañas going forward very quickly. He saw the space. Bogey saw him and tried to put it behind Lenarduzzi, but a wonderful touch away by Lenarduzzi.
Now outside the box. Vancouver, and it's Naskins volleying away. 12 seconds to play in the scoreless first half. A volley. Alberto pushed the defender away, pushed the offensive player away, and with 2 seconds, and the referee has stopped the clock with 2 seconds to award this free kick.
Well, you don't see that a lot. A Cosmos player did knock it away. I think if he just left it alone, time would have run out. 2 seconds. Can he get the ball in here from 2 seconds?
And it's over the goal line. It's going to be a corner kick, but time has expired, I believe. Yes, time has expired. That is the end of a tough defensive first half. And there's no score in this match. The Cosmos nothing, Vancouver nothing. And we'll be back with halftime and more transatlantic soccer. And there is Roma of Italy. In the first round, in Vancouver, Vancouver tied Roma 1-1. On that same night, earlier that night, the Cosmos defeated Manchester City 3-2. In the second round of the tournament on Saturday, Roma came to Giant Stadium. Manchester City went to Vancouver. Manchester City was annihilated by a point. With a tie against Vancouver, Manchester City did not have any points. So we came to today's concluding doubleheader.
Who's from Rome Television, here to cover this exciting tournament. And Mario, is there a great deal of interest in Rome in this particular tournament here?
Yeah, the first thing I had to do to explain to all the people here, I'm sorry for my English, it's not very well. Anyway, the first thing I think is the Roma Soccer Club was today particularly unfortunately with a match with against Manchester City. But I am sure that all the people here had to see a very good team with a good play for the coach, Mr. Lidon, the Swedish one. And I hope your soccer here in USA was more and more powerful, isn't it?
Well, I'm sure it's coming along. Your English is doing fine, Mario. Just hang on there. Now, let me ask you, What about this Roma team? Was it a surprise that they did as well in Italy by winning the Champions Cup, by winning the cup in Rome? Was that a surprise?
Yeah, it was not a surprise because in all the games in seven months was not a very surprise. But anyway, it's very difficult soccer sport in Italy because we have Juventus, Milan, Inter. They are very big teams. But anyway, we can see today and 2 days ago, Roma has a very good play.
Well, they attacked. They were very attacking. They tried to score a lot of goals, and we were surprised here in New York that they went forward as much, that they attacked as much. Do they? Are they different from other Italian teams who have the reputation of being more defensive then?
Not more difference. No more difference. I have to explain that the system of play of the Rome is quite different. But anyway, all the Italian play is all the same.
Pretty much the same. Well, thank you, Mario, for joining us for this halftime discussion. We'll be back now with some more halftime highlights after this.
Corner kicks. Vancouver an advantage of 3 there. Fouls are even. Offsides. Cosmos 2, Vancouver 1. I thought early on Vancouver was on top of the game. Then the Cosmos had a spell there of a couple minutes where they looked like they were dangerous. And then after that, Seamus, it appeared as if it kind of balanced off. And it was a very even game.
That's right. Very even indeed. Not surprisingly, given the fact that it's a cup final kind of atmosphere.
All right, we're going to be back with more halftime and more. Despite a scoreless first half, there were some opportunities to score in that first half. Vancouver, and always dangerous Trevor Weimark, had a shot here, Seamus.
Sure did. Look at this nice, lovely ball that's played out wide. Again, the defense stretched a little bit. Here comes the ball across. And look at that rising header at the top of the head. You see, he just gets right up there and glances that just over the top. But the timing of the jump is so important in something like that. He caught the ball just at the peak of his jump.
And again, the Whitecaps on the attack, and that's a Rudy Kroll shot, a vicious low shot that was handled by Hubert Birkenmeyer, the Cosmos goalkeeper. The Cosmos' best opportunities actually in the early minutes of the game. A Romero cross, Quinaya hit the crossbar, and then later on, again from Romero on the right, a low cross that may have grazed the head of Quinaya onto the head of Cabanas, who tried to head it into the goal, but the defender stopped it right there. I believe that was Belitho 10, or it might have been Craven who stopped it. But in any event, those were the 2 best chances for Cosmos. Now the Cosmos will have the wind advantage, but you know what, Seamus? It now looks as if the wind has died down a bit. Well, no, it's still an advantage for the Cosmos.
Strong. Yeah, it's still pretty strong. You can see that the shirts billowing there of the Vancouver shirts just blowing in the breeze. I can't see any substitutes so far. Looking out to see if there are any substitutes. None for the Cosmos. Take a closer look at Vancouver in a minute.
All right, Cabanas with the ball, double teamed. He goes back to Alberto. Again, a reminder, if the Cosmos win, they win the cup. If they tie, they win the cup. Vancouver must win to win this cup. Neither club has been defeated yet in the tournament in 2 games. Manchester City beat Roma 3-2 in the first game this afternoon. Ball knocked away at the head of the box. It's Beckenbauer for the Cosmos. Play it to Alberto. Play it back to Franz. He's in a lot of traffic. Got rid of it to Quinaya. Try to get it back to Franz. But again, that tough Vancouver defense closed down. Durgan. Cabanas off his chest. To Eskandarian. To Cabanas. It'll be a Cosmos throw as it was knocked over the near side by Belitho. Now in the box for Bogey. That's a good throw. Bogey turns and fires a high cross that's picked off as Romero was skying at the far post, and the goalkeeper made a good play on that, Bruce Krivelar.
Remarkable that Bogicevic was able to get around that ball and pull it back, given the angle he went to approach it from the beginning, and the fact the wind is pulling it away from him too. It was a great piece of work by Bogicevic.
All right, Vancouver now, the midfield line. And now they'll have to contest this win. Rick Davis picks up the loose ball. And now to Cabañas. Romero. Beckenbauer. Bogey had it knocked away. That was Kroll that made that play. Eskandarian. Pass for Beckenbauer knocked away by Kember. Kember took a real shot at Franz.
But again, a good play by Kember, who seems to be really very adept at picking up the most dangerous Cosmos midfielder coming through and putting so much pressure on that even if he doesn't get the ball, he pressures the pass so that it may end up a very poor one, and he's been very good at it.
Foul against Vancouver.
One of the interesting sidelights on the Vancouver side I just heard about here at the half, Jim, is that Willie Johnson is not here and is not hurt. He's in the doghouse really back in Vancouver. He didn't want to come and play, and he's really a little upset.
Some of the Vancouver players, after winning the championship, had some contract problems with the club, and that happens in a lot of sports a lot of times. There's a long throw to Naskins. Could not get a foot on it, and Naskins is down flat on his back. Johan, who has a disc problem, is still on the ground. That doesn't look good. And now Kinaya comes over to have a look at Johan Naskins.
But look what the keeper did. Here's a nice piece of sportsmanship. Grobbelaar kicks the ball into the stands like that. He really could have kept the play going, but obviously he sees Naskins in trouble, and he goes over to be sure he gets some treatment.
That's a good observation, Seamus. All right. Johan Naskins is being attended to at Giant Stadium. No score in the match. 41-25 to play. We'll be back with more Transatlantic Soccer after this. Came down very hard. It looked like it came down on his ribs and his left arm. And he's kind of holding that left arm. When we come back to the live action, that left arm is kind of dangling at his side there. He's kind of, you see it?
Well, now look, while we were away, we just missed another nice piece of sportsmanship. The Cosmos took the throw in, and Bogey promptly knocked it out of bounds, deliberately giving it back to Vancouver as his gesture of thank you for looking out for our player. You'd like to see more of that.
And now the ball out of bounds, allowed to go over the goal line. It'll be a goal kick coming up. Kinaya complaining that the defensive player that time rode Cabañas off the ball. All right, now Vancouver out of their own zone. Ball plays it back to a surprise John Craven. I don't think John was expecting that ball. Now they attack Cosmos, Valentine, and the intercept by Eskandarian. And out of Franz Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer is ridden off the ball and stolen.
That's that little busy Gray. Gray, as you mentioned, the first half, are really just hounding the Cosmos in midfield. And even when the Cosmos player beats a midfield defender, if it's Kember, then Gray comes over to scoop it up as fast as he can.
And he's also an attacking midfielder, Seamus. He takes a lot of forward positions on the offense as well, so he's covering the length of the pitch. All right, now here's Eskandarian. Eski starting in fullback today over Bruce Wilson. Long for Naskins. And back to the keeper. Still no score. 39-38 to play in the match. Cosmos and Vancouver. And you can feel the tenseness in the crowd, Seamus.
Well, they're very quiet. It's a quiet Cosmos crowd. This crowd is usually quite vocal because they're used to seeing lots of attacking opportunities by the Cosmos, and the Vancouver have taken them away from, effectively taken those chances away.
All right, Vancouver now. Up the left side now, on the left wing. Here's the high cross. And it's Durgan to head it away. And a foul has been called against Vancouver. All right, that's an indication of how that wind is blowing. It's actually blowing a lot harder than it looks there. And now Romero from Beckenbauer. Romero comes in on goal. Shot, and it just went wide. And Romero made a marvelous run that time. as he showed the Cosmos how to get away from pressure. Just quit passing the short little passes and run
Look
by
at Giorgio
people.
Canalia, cut across the screen there, Jim, and that's what set it up. A beautiful right-to-left run by Canalia opened up the space, and Romero, taking the chance here, has no choice really but to hit it with the outside of his right foot across the goal, and just not strong enough. But nice, that's really the first piece of sort of the team diagonal running that the Cosmos have done in the attacking third in the whole game.
Shows you that the danger of Romero as well with that great speed. All right, Vancouver in the middle of the field now. Allen ball. Back to Bally in his own zone. Really a tough defensive game. Braven had to get rid of it because Bogey was coming up on him. Davis won it in the air. Now Ricky wins it back and rolls it to Birkenmeyer. Davis has played an outstanding game in defense, and he's had Weimark a lot of today as well. Off Valentine. Cosmos fortunate there. That was not a good goal kick by Birkenmeyer, but Valentine hit it last. The Cosmos will throw in. Eskandarian to Bogey, whose return to Eski is not very good, and the ball went off Eski out of bounds. It belongs to Vancouver. Now the fans starting to talk it